like the Dark Lord Cthulhu rising from the depths of Relia and the Atlantic Ocean. We are back reviewing Nightmares of the Deep, the Cursed Part by Artifacts Mundi. It's programmed in the Spark Casual engine. It's $6.99 or $5.99.
Lord, if you're colorblind, you're probably fucked on this webpage.
Oh yeah, no. You can play for free, or you can buy it. Which one's which? But anyways, what is it? Well, it's one of these point-and-click adventure games where you click on everything, and barring that, you combine everything, and then use that to click on everything. It's a clicky game. And, of course, with all clicky games, we review it with our crazy-ass review system. Cue the chair explanation. And, of course, as always, 1 chair is shit, 2 chairs is meh, 3 chairs is pretty good, and 4 chairs is Orgasmotron. And of course, we apply these 4-chair metrics to number of categories Zodoom. Mixed with the working is how the game runs. Shiny and sounds is how the game looks and sounds. Controls is self-explanatory, and fun is whether we wanted to stab our eyes out with shredded plastic forks or not after playing this game. So Ven, did Nightmares from the Deep, the Cursed Heart, make with the working?
I'm more interested in your shredded plastic fork technology, but did it make with the working? Absolutely. On our Ubuntu 12.04 minimum test system, 770 powered, 32-bit, because Q, that's why.
Take a shot.
Gotta give it 4 chairs. That's what it deserves. Not a hiccup, not an issue. It did not say one disparaging remark about my mother. J-Man.
Well, on my Fedora 20 64-bit NVIDIA 670 super clocked AMD 1090T powered PC right next to my foot, worked pretty much out of the box, no issue. So 4 chairs.
Boom. P-Land.
And on my calculator, running an ATI 5650 HD and an i3 370M on Corora 32-bit. It ran out of the box. No issues. 4 chairs.
All right, well, that's a good start. 4 chairs with mix with working. Although that's pretty much par for the course unless you're, let's say...
Not lately.
That's true. We've got some games that don't work right out of the box. Shame on you. Coming up next, Shiny and Sounds. Then, what did you think about the awesome Uncanny Valley animation in this game? And Mahjong.
Mahjong. That's the whole thing. We're going to take a little quick look at the video here for our interweb viewers that are watching us live. You're thinking, all right, well, honestly, probably you're like Shiny and Sounds. Ven's going to flip the hell out. You already got your cock in your hand, your lotion ready to jerk off listening to me rage about hipster pixel graphics. And you'd be wrong, because that's not what this business is. What this is, and I said this a long time ago when we first took a look at it. If you told me they had transplanted this from a decade ago, or a decade 0.5 ago, updated the engine and dropped it in my face organ today, I was like, that's almost a clone from when I was playing in 1996 Phantasmagoria type stuff. Point and click the game, yes. Shiny and Sounds, they're not trying to be anything other than that. The sounds are sounds. The shiny, but the uncanny valley, as J-Man has touched on, it's still there because you'll have that matte painted background, your people moving around, and boom, out of nowhere, semi-animated video, and all right, nope. That's there.
Honestly, that's the most terrifying part of the game, to be perfectly honest.
3 chairs for that, because that's what it deserves. I liked it. It's not hipster. It's not trying to be retro. It's really genuinely harkening back to something that I didn't necessarily love, but I respect them for doing it right, J-Man.
Well, I have no such fond memories about your good old 1995 era FMV point-and-click adventure games like Ripper or Phantasmagoria, A Puzzle of Flesh. But, yeah. Speaking of Phantasmagoria, the in-game, like, when you're on the mad painting, that reminded me of Phantasmagoria. And I'm like, okay, I can deal with this. And then all of a sudden you talk to someone, and like Ben said, you just get hit by this plasticine-lipped. It's creepy looking. Honestly, like her talking scarred me for life. And speaking of talking, that voice acting, ugh, man, it is passable just because it's not like Space Thunder Kids awful. Oh no, a pirate. But it's just a hair above that. So I'm gonna give that 2 chairs for Shiny and Sounds. Pedro.
And you know what? Frame by frame was done back in the day when computers couldn't handle it. Nowadays, even my calculator, with those shitty specs I mentioned earlier, can run Metro Last Light on medium graphics definitions. So it's not really doing it any favors. The sounds are alright. The voice acting, like mentioned before, was kind of meh. There's a bit of the uncanny valley going on, but you know what? The subtle background noises actually sort of do make up for it. So for me, it gets 2 chairs. Non-committal, middle of the road kind of score. But yeah.
For a non-committal, middle of the road kind of game. So that's 2 chairs for Shiny and Sounds. Control. This is a comprehensive overview of all the nuances of the control scheme that this game has. Then was it too much for your tiny little squirrel brain?
One chair, because it did not work with my PS4 controller, did not work with my Xbox 360. Oh wait, we're talking about something that's a point-and-click adventure game. Did it work with a wireless gerbil? Because you said third control right there. That's it. This hand, you can go jerk off a horse. I mean, you have no need for it. And yeah, you eventually start with your strategy of like, click here, click here, click here, click here. Then it devolves into, fuck it, grid click, and just work your way down. But all those clicks were accurate, so I guess anything bad about that 4 chairs for what it is, like I said, it really does throw back to the old days. J-Man.
Well, you point and you click. It's kind of hard to screw that up. So 4 chairs.
Hey, yep. You know, when I clicked on clickable things, things looked like they had been clicked on. So for me, 4 chairs.
Can you say click like 7 more times?
Click, 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 click.
Yeah. No one cares. So that's 4 chairs for control because, it's the most comprehensive control system on the face of the earth. Finally, our last subjective category. Fun. Ben, did you have fun?
Woo! Actually, yeah. Fun. Subjective. Question mark. I had fun in a very special way. Not the special way that you kidnapped the Santa Claus out in front of the grocery and took him home and did things to him. Not that type. But in the way of, I was saying, this is done right. This is done so stupidly right. It felt like, I remember playing this. In all fairness, in the modern day, with the lackady hairdo and your sparkly cowboy boots, how does this stand up? Not really. I actually enjoyed this more than I did our recent Double Fine adventure, just because it was so old school. But let's talk about who was it in chat room that didn't know what the fuck all a mahjong board was? Mahjong.
Mahjong.
I don't know who was doing drugs on the development team that threw that in there, because that's had to have been on the board of like, random. Cause it's like, oh, can you not solve this puzzle? Play a random game of mahjong and get the answer. And I was like, oh, all right, why not? It was like, here, let's play beer pong. It would have worked just the same. It would have made equal sense. And another thing, if you need to play it on your standard mode, because the stupid easy mode is like hints everywhere, which really reminded me of the original Phantasmagoria, not Puzzle of Flesh, which was the sequel with boobies. But
and gay sex.
Hot, but they had the little skeleton, like, it was like, are you stuck? Click here. And there was really no points I felt that it was not like, fuck you stuck. It was like, fucking seriously stuck. It's like, combine this, move this. And I was like, wow. But then again, a lot of thought went into that. Going along on that, 3 Chairs, I enjoyed it. Again, for what it is, kind of bringing that nostalgia back to my face organ. J-Man?
See, anything involving Mahjong that does not also involve Hitler going Super Saiyan and fighting the Pope is completely unacceptable to me. But that being said, this game is pretty much just like Phantasmagoria, except awful. See, Phantasmagoria 2 actually had a decent story, well, up until the very end, where it just kind of went all weird in X-Files, but this just doesn't really do it for me. I'm not a fan of point-and-click adventure games. At least Broken Age had some decent writing and some decent acting.
But
this...
Sam!
Hey, it had Kree somewhere in that, and she's pretty good. And, you know, give me the ring! Oh, Frodo. Anyways, this game just doesn't really do it for me. The stupid pointless scavenger hunts, the dumb puzzles. It's just, I gotta find Patrick Starfish and throw him on a door and unlock it. Doesn't really do it for me. It's kind of bad. I'm gonna give it 1 chair.
For the fun, P-Man.
Yeah.
Princess Mateus.
To reiterate what I said
Princess
earlier,
Mateus.
in this day and age, I find that frame by frame is more of a hipster gimmick than an art direction, and it doesn't really help the game at all, in my opinion. Okay, granted, the casual mode actually makes the game a bit more intuitive to people that are not used to point-and-click adventure games. And to me, that's a good thing. But I used to like point-and-click adventure games, and even on hardcore mode, I found the game a little too easy.
Well, we did say that genre kind of died a natural death for a reason.
Yeah, and it was a thing in the 90s because that's what the technology could handle at the time. And nowadays, we can do so much more. Again,
we can paint everything brown and shoot flaws.
Indeed.
Precisely. So for me, for the fun category, 2 chairs.
All right, so that's 2 chairs for the fun category. And if we total all this crap up and divide it by 4, then we get a final score of 3 chairs for Nightmares of the Deep.
That actually, even with all of our naysaying, kind of boils down to a check it out.
Yep.
So, final thoughts on this. You do have to keep in mind it was kind of heavily weighed with the working, and they the controls. They kind of padded the resume,
the score a bit.
Right.
Yeah,
it's the nature of the L.G.C review system.
If you're an old fan of it, the only thing I'm going to say it's kind of negative. I mean, well, $6.99. That's almost impulse buy. I mean, if it's something you want to explore, spend a few hours on, and kind of throw back to that, it's done well. And when I say it's done well, it's done in the old style of how this used to go down. So if you remember those days and you're old and you want to tell some kids to get off the lawn, tell them to get the fuck off your lawn and go sit down and play this business. J-Man.
I would say don't buy this game, but that's me. So that's it. Pedro.
Yeah. For $6.99 or €5.99, if you like the point-and-click adventures of yore, yeah, it's a definite buy. Get it. You'll have fun. Granted, the game is not very long. You'll be done with it in about 6 or 7 hours at most, if you really care to explore everything. But yeah, it does have the voice acting and the uncanny valley and the frame-by-frame presentation going against it, so keep that in mind.
So that wraps up our review for Nightmares from the Deep.